Hi guys, here Michele. Before speaking about the new Razor Blackboard, I want just to tell you something I was thinking about the other day after my session. So I was thinking that having the possibility to test a lot of different material, I have the clear idea that there are some hydrofoil very, let's say, suited for a particular discipline, that can be downwind, race, freestyle, and other products that are more, let's say, generalistic, are more all-around. But there is a huge difference between the hydrofoil we have today compared to the hydrofoil we had 2 years ago. Since 2 years ago, an all-around hydrofoil, in my opinion, was something that, was usable in a lot of different disciplines, but did not excel in anything. While the modern hydrofoil have really the characteristics that are usable in a huge different range of conditions, and they excels in several of these. And in this, I think that the new Razor Blackboard is really a perfect example, because it's an hydrofoil that you can use for wing foil, surf foil, pumping, para-wing, that is easy to ride and that has a lot of performance. So in the next minutes we will speak about this hydrofoil. Before going to the review, just remember that using the discount code SAC10 you have 10% discount on Subfoil website, and by this you could buy a complete Razor Blackboard set with ultra high modulus mast for about 1,700 euros, which is really a cheap price. If you follow our channel, we already spoke about Subfoil, an Italian brand that builds high quality product made in Italy, 100% made in Italy. And recently they released a new portfolio, which is called Blackboard. We already spoke about it in this video here, but long story short, the main innovations about the new Blackboard is the fact that here we have the front wing, which is integrated with part of the fuselage, and we have the tail, which is integrated with the stabilizer. So it is a two pieces that are connected by these two screws. This is one innovation from Subfoil, but they were a little bit late because a lot of other brands made this concept in the past. But what is really unique in Subfoil idea is the fact that they created a front wing that connects with the fuselage in an active way. As you can see here, there is this part which is really active, that create lift, and also the profile of this is, let's say, connected seamlessly with the fuselage. And if you have a look also from the front, you see that the profile continues until the tail. This new construction Blackboard has been created for the front, but in parallel Subfoil also released new ultra high modulus mast called Blackboard. Here we have the 85 cm, which is the one that we tested, and the connection of these two elements really create a very strong, stiff and performant product. We already spoke about the Blackboard. We tested the Balth Pro 905 in this video here, while here we are speaking about the Razor. The Razor is a product series which is, let's say, composed by three sizes: 847, 977 and 1077. So yes, here we tested the two wings and not only one, and the main characteristic of this, you can just have a look to the shape, is that these are high aspect front wing. In the Razor portfolio there are three sizes: 847, 977 and 1077, and the aspect ratio is between 10 and 11. And as you can see as a standard in the sub product, the number, in this case 977, is the span. So 977 centimeter of span, an area of about 950 square centimeter, while the 1077 has a span of 1077 centimeter and an area of about 1060 square centimeters. If we have a look to, let's say, the fuselage and the stub, in this case, on the 977, in my hand, we have the stock stabilizer, which is a 375 downwind with an area of 130 square centimeter, while here we have, as we already spoke in another video, the possibility to use a different fuselage. In this case is an aluminum one. You can mount here the stub that you have already from the past from Subfoil, and in this case I have a stub which is the L, and if we compare it, as you can see here, the difference in the length of the fuselage is very big. So it means that simply changing the tail, you can customize a lot the riding style, and we will see it later in the review. Speaking about the stabilizer, this is the stock one, as I said, 375 downwind. If you have a look to the profile, this is a pretty radical stabilizer, huge glide, but you need a little bit to know how to control it. Speaking about the profile of the front, let's say 977 and 1077 are pretty similar. We have a thickness which is not extremely limited, but is not big, is a lot thinner than the previous Razor 980, is much more similar to the Razor Pro 975, so pretty, let's say, interesting profile. And towards the tip, here we have the tip, which is not too much thin, and it is, in my opinion, really important, because if at the same time here we have a huge glide, test it and then you will tell me, at the same time the fact that here the tip is not extremely thin give the possibility to have a very strong and rigid, now I try to avoid to destroy anything, but you can really try to push hard on the tip, and the tip will almost not flex. And it's very important because we perceived it in the water. You can be pretty radical with this front wing, but you will never have the idea of uncontrolled movement. In our opinion, we that are not expert in hydrofoil, this particular part of the front wing is a very interesting part of the shape and give a lot of benefit while riding in the water. Moreover, I have to say that using the Ultra High Modulus must, the connection is very, very, very rigid, and as I said, you never have the feeling that something is moving. Everything is very rigid one to the other. But now let's speak about the test in the water, because it's by far the most important part. We tested this front wing in several disciplines: wing foil, surf foil, and also a little bit of pumping. What we perceived during the test in all the disciplines is that in this case we have a huge glide, huge pumpability, and the front is pretty fast, and I could also say a little bit radical. It has all the capability to really surprise you. And another really strange also part of this test is that we had the feeling to be much better than what we are in reality. I mean, it is a high performance front, but it's not difficult. And by this, really you can improve your skill, but also the perception, honestly, of your skill while riding this new Razor. So let's start from the wing foil. We tested both the wings from 10 knots to 20 knots. Clearly, the 1077 is, let's say, a little bit bigger, and it is, in my opinion, the preferred choice if you go out typically in extremely marginal condition. 9, 10 knots, in this case I think that the 1077 is the best one. For sure, you cannot push the 1077 to very high wind, because at the end of the day it has a front which is more than 1000 square centimeter, but, and this really surprised us, also with a so big front wing you can reach very good speed. The 977 instead is a little bit smaller, so you can fly from about 10, 11 knots probably, but in this case the upper limit of wind is for sure higher. In the stock configuration with the Stub 375 downwind, this is a machine for downwind. The glide is extremely good. Both the front and the stabilizer are made to glide and to be pumped. If you are losing a little bit of flight height, you can simply give a pump and the hydrofoil will gain height, and then you will continue flying. So the pumpability in all the Razor Blackbird is very good. And also, if you want to push a little bit more, if you want to do some radical jibe or tacks, it will stay there and it will help you. You can really be radical, and this is strange considering the AR, you can really be radical with this front and you will enjoy it a lot. And at the same time, it's not very difficult. Just to make a comparison, if I have to compare this front with the Buzzpro 905 we tested some times ago, I think that the Buzz Pro is more technical than the Razor Blackbird. For sure, the main target of users are not complete beginner, are, in my opinion, intermediate to expert, but, and we tested it, considering this stock setup, if you are at the beginning, you made the training and now you are starting to jibing, simply exchanging the tail from the 375 downwind to this one, with, for example, a L fuselage with a Stub 370, the performance will stay there, because you will have anyhow very good performance, very good glide, but the easiness of use will increase dramatically. In this configuration, I think that almost everyone could ride this setup. If you are sort of beginner, I suggest to start with the 1077. If you are more experienced, I suggest you to start with the 977. And remember that you can really change the easiness of use simply exchanging the fuselage. Anyhow, I don't want to give you the impression that with the stock configuration is hard to use or difficult to use. No, at all. It is the most performant configuration you have. But if you are a little bit scared because you are really at the beginning of your journey in the wingfoil, this setup will help you a lot. Now, speaking about pumping, the profile is very efficient. The pumpability of this new front is excellent, as I already said, and in my opinion you can deal with the pumping in several ways. You can pump while in wingfoil, we already saw it, but you could also pump to connect the waves, or you could pump to make dock start. So, honestly speaking, you know, if you follow my channel, you know that I am a very bad pumper, honestly. I cannot dock start with this front, a lot of you instead are able to do it, but I can tell you that the 977 has been the first front wing with an area of less than 1000 square centimeters that I was able to pump. Typically I use the foil drive to start flying and then I continue pumping. This has been the first, let's say, small front that I was able to pump. And guys, if I succeeded, it means that the most of you will be extremely happy and we will be extremely able to pump it in a good way. And by this, it will be perfect to start speaking about the surf foil, because the Razor Blackbird can really be used for the surf foil. Having 3 sizes, you have the full, let's say, portfolio. If you go in waves of more than 1 meter of height, I suggest you to go with the 847. But also the 977 is a perfect choice that it can be used even in the moderate high waves. The fact that you have a lot of glide will help you a lot. The fact that it is a fast front will help you a lot to go down the line, to follow the waves. But probably one of the most important part of this front in surf foil, in my opinion, is the pumpability, because with this you can really connect the waves in a very good and in a very easy way. In these videos you are seeing both me and Simone is a guy who lives in the south of France, who have a water school. You find here the references, and in this case he was surfing a wave thanks to foil drive using exactly this setup, 977 with 375 downwind. What personally I noticed, anyhow, is that using it in surf foil with this stub, you need to be precise in the foot positioning. And I saw it both during the surfing, both during the takeoff, in my case, with foil drive. It is a high performance setup, you need to be precise. If you are really at the beginning of your journey in the surf foil, I suggest you to evaluate the longer fuselage, because I tell you, in this case, the stability of the foil will change dramatically, the easiness of use will increase dramatically, but the performance will stay there. The glide will stay there, a little bit less, but we are speaking about nothing, honestly, and you will enjoy it a lot. So also in this case, if you are an intermediate or expert, go with the stock. If you are a sort of beginner, think to buy the aluminum fuselage with a little bit bigger stabilizer, and then after a few sessions you will jump back to the stock configuration. I used this setup also in extremely small condition, I mean 20-30 centimeters of wave not breaking and without wind. And in this condition, I think that even the 1077 could be a little bit too small. So for extremely small condition, I think it will be better to have a look, staying in the subfoil portfolio, to the Leviathan products. But if the waves are a little bit bigger, go with the 1077 or with the 977 and you will not be disappointed at all. So here we are at the conclusion. I started the video speaking about the all-round new, let's say, hydrofoil. I'm really convinced that the Razor Blackbird is by far one of the best all-round hydrofoil there are at the moment on the market. Very good construction, very sturdy, very rigid, very, let's say, slim profile, but very, very rigid. Strong performance in wing foil, in surf foil. You can also do pump or also dock start if you are enough skilled. And all this fact really helps you a lot to decrease the amount of product in your quiver, and why not? In my opinion, the 977 with the stock configuration could also be a one foil quiver. Finally, very important topic, the price point. This setup I tested, complete carbon, ultra high modulus mast, cost, using our discount, about 1,700 euro, which is an extremely low price considering the quality of the product, but mainly the behavior in the water. So if you are curious, go and check it out on Subfoil. Remember to use, if you like, the 10% discount that Subfoil gave us to you. and I'm really sure that you will like it a lot. Guys, I hope that you liked this video. If it is the case, please like, comment and subscribe. We go testing other product and we will see you later. Bye, Michele.